And we're live. Thank you so much for joining us on this session of the Global Prayer Project. This is becoming very, very fun. We're all getting a lot of feedback. Let me talk a little bit about the goals for this really intuitively driven and intention-based Global Prayer Project. Mainly, we know that thanks to the Human Potential Movement, all the books, all the scholarship, all the discussion for 100 years, that spiritual reality is real. And then I know that we struggle, all of us, with a kind of media-driven assumption that we live in a materialistic world that's always been here, and everything's explained and ordinary, and there are surprises, but we just handle it as part of this secular reality we're in. Well, we have to break out of that, and we are breaking out of that because, you know, we live really in a spiritual world. And what that means is it's nothing so mystical that it's incomprehensible. What the Human Potential Movement has given us is that we have figured out the working parts of the spiritual world. And the Celestine insights, all through all the books, the new book that I'm working on now are all devoted to making that plain. And the key concept is life is not supposed to be this hard. There's an operating system. There are a set of alignments that when we change our habits and get in alignment with the true spiritual design, what happens is that, again, life gets easier because we're helped in life. We have synchronistic help that takes us down the road to a successful career, where we want to work, how we can make a difference in the world, how to keep our inspiration levels high. So the basis of the Global Prayer Project is to move into that alignment so that we're spiritually connected and strong. So we've been talking about it. This is our fourth one, and we have really started with the idea of inspiration energy. We have talked about that as a barometer. We talked about synchronicity as a kind of barometer, kind of a measure of how connected we are spiritually. And remember, this is understandable. All the insights are really moving into where there are abilities. And these abilities to stay in alignment is the name of the game right now. So we're coming back to the Global Prayer Project because one, we can talk about that. We can expand this consensus about how to live in a spiritually connected way. And then how to push it forward in the world, how to share it. Remember that Dr. Larry Dossey, his last book, One Mind, we share minds. What we think as we go down the road or on a freeway, what we're thinking is contagious to all the other people around. The level of faith we have, the level of love-based centeredness that we have, that's all contagious. That's what creates the idea that if a certain number of people move into this spiritually connected life, what happens is that it kind of mushrooms through the whole group mind, so that there's the critical mass at that point has happened, so that people will become just automatically sort of opened up into the spiritual connected world that we're talking about. So that's the progress of humanity. If you want to think, what can I do for humanity? There's nothing greater than this. Find a way, learn it, find the experiences that we're talking about that puts us into alignment with the design. And the design is for us to have a miracle-like life, right? There are always challenges, but the idea is to get where we can come back to this flow of synchronistic help on the way to our mission in life, right? So this is not meant to be pie in the sky. This is not just talk. Because we're at the level now where we're actually changing our consciousness in order to get into this alignment, means that we're all making this kind of contribution to this eventual full critical mass. And if you read Revelation in the Bible, maybe that's the third grade version of what's happening, but all of us intuit that we're meant to live in a more conscious way, in a conscious life. But there's a great watershed moment, a great breakthrough moment that all of us have, and that's happens with self-awareness. So a lot of the new book is about the breakthrough moments, the breakthrough experience, but that has to be actually moved through by each of us as individuals. Now, if people are holding the energy for it, is if you get it reinforced in a group, it's easier. But what happens is that it's a walk, it's a moment when you walk through a kind of plane, right? And that plane doesn't feel any different other than we start to keep our connection all the time. And the basic way that we make that breakthrough is through self-awareness. Now, self-awareness is something that's run around, the whole 80s and 90s, 70s really, were about how do we get conscious? What are the steps? It begins with self-awareness. Now, related to the Celestine prophecy work, this self-awareness allows us to catch ourselves in ego defense. Because in this material world, it's riddled with insecurities. You have to find out how to make a living. You have to try to stay honorable in how you get money from other people, how you work your jobs. And I have to say that it's easier now to look at our own defenses, look at the way we manipulate other people, because out in the world, there's this dark side energy that is more pronounced than ever before. Now, don't get me wrong. The spiritual side, the light side, the people who are moving into consciousness is tremendously larger. But what's happening on the dark side, while they're getting smaller, they're also getting darker. And again, that's a phenomenon predicted in many texts, spiritual texts around the world. You in the Bible, for instance, there's the concept of the devil being loosed in the world, right? Now, without understanding that this is symbolic, that this dark side it can be described as the most insecure side. The people that live so in a materialistic bubble that they really can't imagine anything spiritual. They can't. It's a de facto non-event. Spirituality is all in the head, they say. What's real is a kind of largeness of the ego in the world. Now, they may not call it the ego, but they would say largeness of power, because the dark side, of course, are the people that are most secure. And what insecure people do, they have to gain energy from dominating other people. That's just the solution, the only solution within a totally material world. You have to dominate. And you also have to have power from finances, money. But because that really doesn't cure insecurity, there's never enough power and there's never enough money. So when you look at people who seem to be psychopaths, that seem to be able to lie with great ease and even with a kind of self-congratulation. When you see that, it's because it's a way to pretend that one is secure. It never lasts, as control dramas do or want to do. They fall. But what I'm describing, though, is the any control manipulations of other people to win power or attention from them. So that's the dark side, and the dark side has always been in this world. The great mystics say, well, that's the dark that we have to choose not to be in. We have to follow a kind of the spiritual landmarks through history and move into this connection with what we would call and all have always called the love-based God. Of course, this is not a little man in the sky, with a beard. This is a force that we can tune into. And that's why it's always been a mystery. What is this force? Well, this force is love-based, right? It's love-based, and because that's the emotion that we want. We don't want the fear and the anger and the hurt and the jealousy and all the lower emotions. That's what knocks us back and makes us go into ego and defense, right? Because we get so insecure, we have all these emotions, and we're breaking through, though, and with the idea that that's something to move past, not to fear, or not to defend ourselves against going into. We have to move into the connection, spiritual connection, that the Celestine books are all about, which moves us past the lower emotions into what I like to call agape and love-based emotions, and that's a kind of meditation we do, that we share with the world. Being in that place, not in the dark side of fear and coping with the fear in crazy ways, but moving into the light, because the light's there. And there's never, this is a time when we know the most about how to make this journey than ever before, thanks to the human potential movement. So I'd like to just say that when we say why a global prayer project, it's because the wider we share this spiritual connection and the kind of inspiration that comes with it, right? The better. The only place, though, to be very sensitive about is when you slip over into the controlling side, into these manipulations that we learn in childhood, right, to defend ourselves. The new book has a lot of insight into the Enneagram is a way to really be aware of the kind of control dramas that we each have. The four main control dramas are kind of categories, but there are really more like 9 control dramas. And the Enneagram information really does help with that. So that'll be in the new book. In the Celestine process community, though, we are talking about the Enneagram now. In my course, moving through each of these alignments, taking them seriously. The one alignment that moves through control dramas, we're talking about what's the 9, control dramas that exist that can be identified. So again, it all goes back, though, in the service of the self-awareness, because what we all have to do is catch ourselves going into defensiveness, right? Now here's the difference, okay? When we go into defensiveness, maybe someone challenges us, puts us down, or overtly tries to manipulate us. And if we go into defensiveness, in which we try to manipulate them back and win, that's the dark side, because that's that same kind of take control of the world and manipulate for power and money that operates there, right? What's the opposite of that? What's the connected opposite of that? It's to give energy. Someone is putting you down. You're invulnerable because you have this energy flowing through you out into the world all the time. And we've talked about that. Essentially what we do in the intention prayer expansion, meditative expansion that we practice here on the Global Prayer Project. It's the opposite of taking, manipulating, is giving. And if we catch ourselves in self-awareness, that we check, we're watching ourselves like a movie, and we see that we're going into this defensiveness, then it's a point of consciousness to be able to go, whoa, look at what I'm at, the way I'm behaving. That's a control drama, and then remembering to go back to connection, so that you have this agape love-based emotional solidity. The greatest kind of strength comes in, and you can go back to giving, and go back to not being able to be insulted, right, or put down. Realizing what that is and giving more energy in response, and more love-based agape energy out. So, that's what we're doing here. And so the more people that we can get into this space where we recognize the dark side, yes, they're trying to control more and more and more. Even freedom of speech is at play now. But the more they manipulate and lie, the more they're exposed. And that's what's really happening. The people that are trying to control the world now as never before, they're really exposing themselves as manipulators and liars. And that is what needs to happen now, because it encourages us to choose, right? You want to be on that side? Yeah, you could get in the money train. You can get set up with a corporate sponsorship of whatever you're doing. But do you want that? Is that the energy you want to stay in, or do you want to flip over into the light side and have a love-based creative breakthrough with self-awareness? Catch yourself enough times, you're able to stay connected. And of course, meditation is an important part. And there's more meditation going on in the world than ever before, right? So that's why the consciousness feels like it's opening up. And I think there's a kind of breakout energy that's servicing now. We realize how much is lies in the world about what we can't do and what we shouldn't do, and there's a kind of breakthrough moment where we're saying we're breaking through to our creativity, a love-based heightened creativity, where magical synchronicities happen to open doors for us. You know, the thing about the dark side, they don't believe in spirituality. All right, they believe in a kind of cultish power, but not real spirituality. You know, they don't think it exists. And what we have to do, of course, is prove it to ourselves and come back to it every time. And again, if we can, the more people we can get in to multiply this energy that we're talking about, sending out into the world, we're sharing something that's an octave above what the dark side wants to present as reality. It's an octave above. It's full of miracles. It's the easy way through life, not the hard way. So just remember, if synchronicity exists, if these mysterious coincidences happen that solve a problem, that open up an opportunity that feels like an inspired moment in your life, going toward your dream mission. What that is again the evidence, right, that the light side has more potential. It's not a matter of believing in God or not. You know, that's rudimentary, right? That's the first level. But it's stepping into the promises of this spiritual world that we find ourselves in. And again, never been more evidence that this, you know, we can get more and more connected and in alignment with how the world's really designed from a spiritual point of view. So with that said, I think that, and if you'll just, send these videos, and, the same meditation operates if it's listened to tomorrow. That same widespread effect happens. So help us spread. If you believe in this, if you believe that this is a secret to progress in the world, real progress in the world, if this is a way to be most protected, this vision of the future, right? That the future is full of more and more people moving from the dark side into this light, into the evidence for this different kind of spiritually based life. If that's our vision, then it has great power, and it's never been clear which side you're on. Because the more consciousness, the more we can tell when people are lying to us, when they're manipulating us. These big corporate entities that have organized the dark side, right? It's like a psychopathic, right? This is what it feels like. But they've organized it. So they think they're on the verge of completely taking the world. And what's happening is just the opposite. Because if we hold the timeline that where we're expanding more and more and more, and people at the fringes of the dark side begin to come over into the light side. Why? Because you can prove it to yourself. It works. Then we have contributed to that movement. And again, there's this more meditation happening out there. To talk just a minute about the type of meditation that I truly believe works best is this heart-based agape love, right? Because most meditations are trying to calm the mind, and we also though have to calm the heart. And that means that we all have problem normal emotions, right? Sometimes we think, well, we're the only one that's fighting these anger outbursts, or we're the only one that can't get over hurt that another person has done, or has fear, normal fear, too much of the time. We think, well, look how everybody seems to be okay, but we feel in this tug of war with these emotions. Well, the cure is healing the heart, letting go of the emotional chatter that bothers us, right? Getting more and more connected with this agape love, solid base, opening to the rest of our spiritual selves. We open up to our intuitive intelligence. That's what's important. We'll talk about that next time more. But for now, let's just remember that what we're doing is moving into this space, this agape love based consciousness, and then we're intending that it moves into the world to uplift others into this experience. So again, thank you for participating, and let's go into the meditation, into the prayer meditation. So for all of you, and if you're driving or otherwise need to be attentive to something, don't go into this meditation. Just wait till later. You want to be safe above all. But let's just, if you're free to go within, that's what we want to do right now. So let's just take a couple of deep breaths. And remember, we want to feel this spiritual connection. So this is good, because there's so many of us doing it. We can definitely, it definitely makes it easier, right? So this is a great place to practice staying in this connected spiritual connection. So let's just, again, take a few breaths. Let's be centered within ourselves. Let's just make sure we are aware of any thoughts. You know the thoughts I'm talking about. I don't have time to do this. I don't, I've always had trouble with meditations. It scares me or something, any of that. I can't, should be working, should be calling somebody else. Just give yourself a few moments like this and just let those thoughts go. Whenever they pop up, you realize they have swept you away from your focus on your solar plexus, your heart area. Let's just let them go. Let every thought go, and just kind of feel this connection in our hearts. What we want to experience is a kind of heart opening where we feel agape love. Now, wherever you've been in your life that's kept you from love, you feel, wherever you've been where love has turned on you, you feel, just go back to your earliest memory of love, that sort of innocent love in childhood for your parents or the important people in your life. Just let yourself feel that love. The love that you spontaneously had for your first pet, maybe, your first friends in childhood. Maybe it's that blush of romantic love, the first crush of adolescence for another person. Still, what you want to feel is love. Again, because this is your spiritual most centering emotion. You're meant for emotion. The emotion that opens up and forever acts as a place that you can come to. No matter what lower emotion pops up, you can visualize it hitting this solid base of love and falling away. So that what we want to do is just feel this love as a state of heart. You know, it's a state. It doesn't have an object. Many people talk about the love of God, of this great creative force that we belong to. But we want it to be a state of love, a connection that is solid within us. Again, it's our most energized creative state, not racked from the lower emotions. But it has to be practiced. So let's just feel it. A state. Feel that love as a state of an emotion that stays with you always. A key emotion. If any thoughts of the hurts that come, that have happened, just let it go and return to love. If it's anger outbursts you sometimes grapple with, let that go and return to love. Or if it's fears of the unknown, fears of the brought about by the uncertainty of the world. Come back to love. Back to the state of love. And any random thoughts we're letting go of. But we do want to pay attention to what comes from this love. And that is inspiration energy. It's the feeling of being inspired to do something. That's part of this heart opening, but it's also responds to situations in our life. So we seem to be sometimes more inspired than other times. Let's just let all of that inspiration energy come in, and with it, a view of the future that you might have for yourself. Move into that. What is that vision? Let that come in. Stay low in love. Stay based. Don't get distracted by other thoughts, what you should do tomorrow about it. Nothing. Just envision yourself in the future. Now I want you to come also into a place where you can broaden that to contain everyone in the world, and what's this love-based future for them. How would the world change? What if everybody was giving energy and synchronicity to everybody else? What if we stayed inspired so that our dreams come forth every day we move through toward them, trusting a kind of synchronistic flow in our lives? And now let's share this place with the rest of the world. Let's just see wherever we are around the world, let's just see this pooled energy that we have, this consciousness inspired for a future of continued perfection and progress, love-based. Let's just see it going out of the walls of our dwelling, wherever we are, into the neighborhood, touching every house, every person, every business, maybe moving into the cities around us. Every place where there's lies and corruption and manipulation, where people feel they have to take to live. And let's just for a moment see them tuning into their own heart space and their own level of inspiration and their own dreams that can pop open in their minds. Let's just see that happening. And then through all the cities around us to the edge of our province or state. And then all the way through the borders of our individual countries, until we can wrap this consciousness, this love-based, heart-opened, positive, futured consciousness all the way around the world. Let's see everyone being affected by it, uplifted, realizing that there is a light side, there is a spiritual connection in this world, that it was designed for this, not for competition and control and manipulation. See everyone opening to their own, again, inspiration, their own connection, opening of the heart. Let's see it flowing into every corporation, every office of the board of directors, into actual implementation and the creation of products, the creation of health procedures. See it moving past doing harm to a kind of heart-based healing that can spread through the world. Let's just be in this glow sweeping around the world. And all this inspiration and all this energy, let your dreams come in. All your individual dreams. See that happen with anybody we're touching out there in the world as well. What do we want our stories to be? What kind of help can we move into this kind of inspired work? What area of life do we want to move out of control and manipulation into a kind of advanced progress? I see it going through every institution. Medicine, teaching, government, every single business that's creating a product. How can that product be better and uplift and act as a gift to other people? This would be the great transformation of the economy on the planet. From lack-based to dream-based. In this vision, let's see how each of us can be self-aware, move quickly out of control dramas, old habits, and be an energy giver, meaning have a field that goes around that is set to give and uplift, that inspire, that goes into any building or room first ahead of you, so that when you walk in, you're filled with energy that goes out from you into the world. It's the secret of charisma. It's the secret of being fearless in your interactions with others. Know that you can get on a forum and speak to 1 million people about what your truth is, what you're sharing within some institution of the world as the next great step of free creation. Let's just dream big. And again, it's heart-open energy flowing out into the world with that prayer intention that this happen, that more and more people get into their spiritual and powerful spiritual connection, their most influential, uplifting spiritual connection. We were born for this. Every human being was born for this. We all came here knowing that this is the great promise of this dimension. That level of inspiration and creativity that makes things better. And now let's set this level of inspiration energy out there, free from any of those who try to control or manipulate toward the dark. Breaking free fully to our greatest creativity and spiritual dialogue with each other. Let's just hold all that and set it. It's there. It can stay out there reverberating even as we go to other tasks in our life. Hold it one more minute. Now let's just come back to our individual places where we are. Take a couple of breaths. And then let's rise and come back to each other. So that was fun, right? that's the power of giving, and the sort of wholeness that comes with giving. Um, remember your dream. Remember your dream, your breakout moment. We can all reach that level of inspiration. So it's just a matter of staying aware, though. The control drama is trying to get energy from other people by hook or crook, passively or aggressively. And it's designed to make us feel good about ourselves momentarily, or to defend ourselves against someone trying to lower our energy. But there's an unlimited supply of energy through an open heart, and that's what our goals are. So thank you so much for spreading the word about this. The larger we can get, the better. Remember what we're doing at Celestine Vision.com in the Celestine Prophecy community. I have a class going on there right now on if you really want to move forward and talk about this and keep it in mind, it takes a community. There are other communities out there, but this one may speak to you around the Celestine concepts. We also have other resources there for you. But I think that most important thing we all do is spread this consciousness and get into a place where we can hold it more and more of the time. So thank you again for being able to have the time to join in. Everybody's busy. Thanks for taking this moment of time. I think it's very, very important in the world. We have to keep spiritual reality alive, especially for the upcoming generations who are manipulated the most from many levels. I'll just say then that spread the word. See if you can get your friends, the people that you think would know what we're talking about here, to come join us. Let's get bigger. Let's get stronger. So thank you for being with us. It's great fun for me, and we'll talk to you next time.